Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of our Mojo Loop community meeting. It's great to have you all here. We had a really fantastic day yesterday and focused more on the business sessions, which also continues again today. Today's are more business sessions with lots of focus on community advocacy, and a few other business sessions. So it would be excellent to tune in. We will start with my presentation, which is community updates. So I will go ahead and share my screen. While I do that, Paula, do you have any welcome thoughts?
Well, yeah, I wanted to thank everyone that participated yesterday and the great speaker lineup we had. As you noted, there were some really good topics, business centric, and again, we'll see more of that today, and then more on community. Of course, as we progress through the week, we'll be getting more and more technical, but hopefully we'll be mixing it up and people will stay engaged. Don't forget that we have the discourse links in the chat channels, so do jump over there if you want to have an ongoing dialogue about particular topics. And of course, use the chat to just post any questions that you might have as the session is going live. So with that, I'll wish everyone a good day and turn it back to you, Simeon.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Paula. I hope everybody can see my screen. I will kick things off. So in terms of I just want to give a quick reflection on our community strategy. And I want to focus on two things. One, what we've done in the past year and what we're hoping to accomplish in the year to come. So let's start with last year. We had 4 very broad goals, and I think we might have accomplished most of these, which is a very huge feat for me. One of those things would be, the first thing was formalizing community management. Essentially, what we're hoping to is to put in place a structured system for the community to respond to non-tech community-related issues that directly support the community and respond to its needs. How did we accomplish this? Through instituting new councils like the Community Council, initially called the Community Leadership Council, now the Community Council, putting in place certain infrastructure that allows for the community governance function to happen within Mojo Loop. 2, one of the other objectives was to strengthen governance through transparency and community participation. Essentially, our goal was to help you, the community, better understand the governance structures for our community, the workflow, and how to engage and how you can participate. And while there's still a whole lot more work to do here, I think for most people, we have clarified how the governance system, community governance system for Mojo Loop works, and we continue to build that out. And I'll talk about that a bit more in the next slide. In Item 3 here was also creating awareness and communicating Mojo Loop's activities. We've been able to do this by putting in place a bunch of system and tools for sharing information. Most of you, if not all, receive our monthly newsletter, which summarizes some of the activities that have happened in the past month. If you're not getting those emails, please let me know, send me your email address. We'd be happy to add you onto the list. We now have Discourse, our community forums, where there's asynchronous communication happening. And of course, there's Slack. All these links are posted in this last slide here so that you can check in and make sure you're plugged into our information system. The last one is we've developed some of that community infrastructure, some of which I've highlighted, like Discourse for asynchronous communication, but also tools like the Mojo Loop Code of Conduct, the contribution license agreements, all of which were worked on collaboratively with the community. And I think a lot of this infrastructure, a lot of this work has helped create a pretty solid foundation for us to build on moving forward. One of the more important highlights over the last year, those of you who will remember, is we were able to restructure and create new community governance committees. The two new committees that we have that have been working over the last year is the Community Council and more recently the Product Council, which Leslie-Ann will speak about more and their work, share more about their work tomorrow. And I think it's tomorrow and Thursday as well. The existing groups, the Design Authority and the Change Control Board, have both been restructured, a much more stronger. The Change Control Board now is expanded to include special interest groups, which are groups that focus on a specific API. If you check Discourse and a few other places on Slack, you'll see public calls for people to join the special interest groups. These special interest groups are public. They're open to anyone in the community to participate, and so we encourage you to participate. Going forward, we would want to have a system in place, and some people in the community are working through this. We do want to have a system in place where these meetings, the discussions are open to the public. If you check Discourse, you'll notice the Design Authority Council minutes are public and are open. And in the coming weeks, we intend to have the Change Control Board, the Special Interest Groups, the Community Council minutes and agendas and discussions public up on Discourse, so that you can engage and you can give us your feedback directly and engage and participate in the governance of our community. So that's looking back. So what about looking ahead? I want to start with a slide that most of you have seen a few times now. And this was put together by some of the thoughts and discussions that came off the Product Council. This year, the focus again is, well, the major focus is on gaining traction. We do want to remove friction for adopters and contributors, reduce costs, respond to understand and resolve the gaps that are brought to attention through the adopters, and also build our confidence in a claim of a trustworthy, quality, and credible system. And so it is from this lens or this frame that we derive our objectives or our focus going forward for the community. One, at a high level, these are the four things that we hope we can make meaningful progress on in the community going forward. One is reducing friction for adopters and contributors. What are our adopters saying in terms of areas of what are their pain points and how can we respond to them? What are the contributions? What contributions do other people want to make, whether it's individuals or companies, and how can you make it easy for them to do so? And that may mean taking a look at our contribution models and guidelines. And that's something that we hope to accomplish going forward. How do we attract and grow new constituencies of contributors? I'll speak about this in depth in a few slides. How do we diversify contributions, not just from code? How do we talk about non-code contributions? How do we look at folks with different skills? For example, some of you are testers. How can we formalize engagement with them? Some of you write functional specs and requirements. Some of you are designers, architects, system architects. How do we make clear pathways for you to enable you to contribute easily without friction as possible? How do we also create more opportunities for people with varied skill sets to contribute to developing and creating a strong modular community and ecosystem? And then the last one is also trust and collaboration. How do we work better and how do we collaborate better amongst ourselves, but also with other financial inclusion-minded organizations, either on the fringe of our community or in the wider ecosystem? How do we strengthen our position in our community in the wider financial inclusion ecosystem? So these are just some of the objectives that we hope, and the Community Council is taking leadership and ownership of this and trying to come up with initiatives and strategies to meet these high-level objectives over the next year. I want to focus a bit on our community here for a second. And and talk about, sorry, my screen is jumping all over the place. Sorry about that. I want to start by just taking a reflection on the community we have. Again, this is a slide that we've seen quite a bit, but who's in our community at the moment? And I want to answer that question today. One is two very broad groups. We've got solution vendors, system integration companies, and lots of folks building, contributing to the Mojo Loop API and the Core Hub, but also building products and services that work with these tools. We also have in our community folks who are engaged in training and some consultancy organizations who have been supporting the ecosystem. And one of the things that we're thinking through this year is how do we formalize engagement with these groups? But in also building out our community, it's also useful for us to focus on who else we want in our community. Those who may be on the fringe or those who we have some light touch engagements with. How do we deepen those relationships and that engagement? I want to highlight three groups here. One, we have large consultancies, large and small consultancies and development sector players who run infrastructure projects at national levels and other levels. You've seen in some of the programs yesterday, conversations with groups like UNCDF and Glenbrook. And there are many others that we want to formalize in our engagement with them. And our goal for the community is identifying very clear pathways for them to contribute and for our community to engage with them. We also think that individuals, many of whom are in this call, who work for DFSPs, hub operators, I think those are the people who will care a lot about the Core Hub and how it's functioning and would care deeply enough about it to contribute to it. And so it is our goal to create pathways of engagement for this group of people, individuals who on a day-to-day basis are involved in the running of hubs and DFSPs. The last group is corporate contributors. Large corporations, how then do we engage them? Can we form meaningful partnerships with them? And can the community add value to them, and as well as they add value to our community, directly to our community? So these are, I think, going forward, the focus again is on one, identifying these groups, as I mentioned in our community objectives here, attracting and growing new constituencies of contributors, but as well as diversifying the contribution so that we're able to find meaningful ways for them to add value to the community and for them to get, for these groups of people, those in our community and those who we want in our community to get value by participating and engaging in our community. So real quick, how we engage. Here are a couple of links. We'll share the slide deck with you after this presentation. There's our community forum discourse. Please go there and engage at any time, community.mojoloop.io. You're welcome to start new topics, participating in existing topics. There's been lots of really exciting conversations and meaningful conversations happening there yesterday, and I hope we can continue that throughout this week and in the weeks and months to come. A lot of the community is active on Slack. Please engage and join us there. The links to join and participate are on there. Our code is on GitHub and our documentation links are there as well. Feel free to engage with us going forward. Just to highlight something that was already highlighted yesterday, while it's awesome to meet virtually, I think there is one of the things that I have not experienced yet, having joined Mojo Loop recently, but I look forward to hopefully soon, is the chance to interact with all of you from a social perspective. This is important because it's opportunities like this that build trust, serendipity, and collaboration going forward. That's the foundation of it. And so we've intentionally created that time this Wednesday at the end of our convening at 4 p.m. Please join us, turn on your cameras, bring a beverage, let's chat, we'll capture screening. It would be good to know who else is in our community, what your interests are. So we'll spend some time after the call please purpose to join us tomorrow at the end of the day for this. I guess thank you all, and I will end that there, and I will pass it on to the next group